Hey, it's your favorite guy, Chris Palmer, out from YouTube, and we're going to come out with some breaking news. CNN has released secret Chinese documents that say that the Chinese virus is from China. Now imagine that the Communist Party has lied to us this whole time, even though we've talked about this 6 months ago, me and a bunch of other YouTubers. And on that breaking news,
what? The Communist Party lying?
Yes, the
Are
Communist
you
Party
serious?
lied.
The Communist people
Lied to the world.
To the world.
'Cause the secret documents that come from China, it says it come from the Wuhan province in China. And somehow, with the tight ship that the Communist Party runs, secret documents got out. Unknowns to how that become, we don't know. And on other breaking news, we have widespread voter fraud that they were told, Mr. Barr said that this was the safest election ever.
The Democrats lied too?
Yes, just like the
You're
Communist
kidding.
Party.
They lied too?
They lied. And
imagine
that puts
the
them,
Democrats and the Communists lying?
Yes,
oh
because
my goodness.
it's just like Joe Biden said, China, eating our lunch? Come on now.
Those are good people.
Yes. And the
Whoa.
Communist China lied. And
Joe Biden looks like a little old man that they've went to a nursing home and picked out and put a new suit on him and have paraded him around like a little puppy. I swear to God, look at this man. Does this not look like a little old man from a nursing home that they've just put a new suit on and paraded all over town like a new puppy?
In other breaking news, we have the Georgia Committee of Elections said that they had to stop the counting of the ballots because of the busted water pipe. And
they lied too?
And they lied too.
Oh my gosh. Lies.
Then they come out and kept counting ballots, pulling them out from under tables, and registered voter how'd they put it? Registered voter ballot containers, which was those suitcases that you pull out with wheels.
Not the little boxes that it used to be.
It's not the gray crates that are shipped through UPS and everything. It is the suitcases, the black Samsonite, what it looked to me like. And but there's a whole tape on that. You can look it up on YouTube. And let's see, what other breaking news do we have?
Democrats can't win even when they cheat.
Yes,
breaking news.
That is a whole new breaking news. And breaking news: Biden is just wanting the White House because it has a bigger basement than what he's in right now.
He's dying to get in that basement, folks. I'm telling you. It has nothing to do with being the president of the United States or being for the people, by the people. None of that. It's the basement.
The reason I don't want Joe Biden as president is because when he talks to other foreign ministries, like if he talks to Kim Jong-il or whatever the guy is over in North Korea, it's going to be like, ong tong ting tong tong, and he's going to think he's speaking the language, which he's just going to be insulting these people. And you have to remember this. And Russia and German, Putin is liable to beat him up right there on stage. I mean, I'm just going to tell you.
Hey, I'd pay for that pay-per-view.
I'm on the real side of things. This whole thing, I've told my wife that it's going to come down to the courts, and it's going to go to the Supreme Court, and it's going to get overturned. The ballots are going to be tossed away, and if the Democrats do manipulate the Supreme Court, that it's going to go to the House. The House is going to have a representative that objects, and so will the Senate. And then they will have a hearing on that, and they'll throw out the ballots, and Trump is going to win.
He has literally said all this from the very beginning.
As soon as I seen what was happening, that is what I said.
They're very predictable folks.
This is my press pass, and this is my scoop. Anybody that sees it, you can say, hey, I know this guy, Chris Palmer, on YouTube that has scooped this whole story.
The craziest MF ever.
And all this stuff, all this breaking news, Louder Than Crowder's talked about it. The conservative twins have talked about it. A bunch of other YouTubers like me have talked about the same thing. And CNN comes out with a smile from ear to stupid ear saying that they have got documentation from China. Communist China that lies to everybody in the world.
But our president called this 6 months ago.
Yeah,
but he was prejudiced because he called it the Chinese virus. Okay, if you call
the reason it's called the Chinese virus is because it comes from China.
I don't consider it to be a prejudiced statement. However, if you're from China and you get called a Chinese, you're obviously being called a name by a prejudiced individual.
I watched a thing with Morgan Freeman. He was narrating it, and it was called, let's call him the Bruce Wayne of the Chinese world, ate a bat that wasn't cooked good, and this is where it come from.
Oh my God.
And
oh God.
No, come on back here, woman.
I gotta get off.
You can't get off from here. Yeah, we ain't done. We got more breaking news.
Oh.
We have breaking news on the Dominion machines and stuff like that. All these votes. We have breaking news that I think it was over 146 dead people voted. We have breaking news that I think it was like in the 200s of people that was dead that was voting.
That's every year, though. And every year the Democrats pull the dead vote.
Well, we also have breaking news that people voted twice. Felons voted. That's against the law for felons to vote. And they've run all this stuff through. And all this breaking news, it tickles me. I laughed so hard yesterday when we were going through this and I was telling her the breaking news, I was crying. And when you show the weakest man that you can possibly find from the Democrat Party up here on stage, that in return makes America look weak in front of every individual in the world.
It really does.
And breaking news, and I don't know how many people has covered this, Taiwan, a little scientist, talked to the World Health Organization and tried to tell them that the virus come from China and the Wuhan province in China. And the World Health Administration guy, he said, he just stood there and looked at her for the longest like this. And then she said, hello? And he said, oh, I didn't hear your question. She said, well, then I'll repeat it. And he said, oh, you don't need to. We'll move on to the next question. And then when she said, well, no, this has to do with Taiwan too. We need to get this out. He hung up on her on Skype.
I didn't even know we could do that.
Yeah, as reporters, we're supposed to talk to him, and our interviewers are supposed to talk back to us. They're not supposed to hang up on us when we're talking to them.
But now that I know we can, I will.
But that's a big Democrat move right there, all in its own. That's why when after Joe Biden speaks, somebody comes and grabs him by the arm and rushes him off stage because they can't control the narrative.
Just like I said.
They can't control the narrative of what questions they're going to ask him and what the hell he's going to say. It's just like he was talking, I carry this with me all the time. It's a paper and reaches, oh, well, I gave it to my staff. Where's my stuff at? Okay? And that lets you know he don't even know where the hell he's at or where his self is at. He was looking for that guy to come grab him by the arm and drag him off stage. And that's why he does not answer any of the questions. There's nobody got an interview with him that has asked any hardball questions. And if Joe Biden
they don't want him to stroke out.
If Joe Biden ever sees this, I will volunteer as an independent press, not going for the Democrats, not going for the Republicans, not going for anything, just going for the story, to interview Joe Biden live
really
on Facebook. Yes, I lean toward Republican,
yes,
but I will ask him the questions that America wants to know what his policies are, since we've never heard none of them, not a damn one of them. And Kamala Harris, she's talking about Trump supporters being immoral people and stuff like that, and that some guy went on a rant on there I watched that said that they are to take Trump towers and everything and turn it into prisons, and have all us Trump voters be put in those prisons that support the guy. This guy has brought our economy up.
Gave us jobs.
The unemployment rate is higher than it was back in 1967. Or back at, I think it was 67. Hell, it might have been further back than that. I mean, he has put everything up front and honest. And the reason they don't want him on as president is because he took all the lobbyists out of the White House office, told them to write him a summary of what they want, and he would look it over and get back to him. And AT&T, and this is a fact, and you can look it up on the internet, paid one of the guys that bring him coffee or food or whatnot $1.5 million just to say, you might want to look at that AT&T bill. And that right there, that turns all his constituents into lobbyists.
It's a whole new can of worms right there.
And I mean, there's a lot of stuff you people don't know that don't investigate this stuff. I mean, it's insane.
We quit watching this fake news, because it is just that. It's fake news. And I'm not going to give you a view because you're fake.
If you want to go, what you do is you go to my playlist and click on it and go through some of the videos down through there, and it'll tell you about the fake news and what it is, and they've called it fake news. I mean, even Matthew McConaughey says it's fake news, and they've been feeding us crap for the whole 4 years at Trump. I mean, look, they went for 4 years on Trump's collusion with Russia, and didn't find a damn thing. But this voter fraud thing, they ain't said a damn word about it, because it puts their candidate Biden in the White House. And that voter fraud, that shows that we have lost integrity in our elections, and shows that we have nothing to do with the election. The election is compromised. There's been many people come out, computer experts, analysis experts, fraud experts, saying those big spikes was loaded down with one little bitty USB drive. You stick it in, and that's where the spikes occurred at on certain times.
Speaking of
45
spikes,
minutes.
On the Chinese virus, speaking of spikes, and I mean that not racist or anything, it's just where it came from, is China. What was the spikes, the 5 people that they were trying to feed us? Americans will buy it. Yes.
They
yes.
said,
that was funny.
That was from Louder and Grouder.
That was funny.
He said that it showed the graph of how many people that had caught the COVID virus in China.
5 people.
And it went up like this and curled, and then went 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5 through the rest of the year. And Louder and Crowder said, "Oh, the stupid Americans, they believe 5, 5, 5, 5. We no go 6, we no go 4, we go 5, 5, 5, 5." And you can't expect us as Americans with common sense to believe that every month only 5 people in China, where the Chinese virus come from, that we've been saying the Chinese virus for over 6 months now.
And we don't mean that racist, but it did come from China. We're Americans.
When we say,
because we come from America.
No, we are Native Americans, so we can't be held to the same standards. We're Native Americans.
We have our own set of rules we
don't have this white person mentality.
Political bull crap.
So
no.
when it comes down to that, the China is lying, because it's a communist country, and whatever their little president guy says goes. And in Communist Party, everything's supposed to be equal. Everybody gets the same amount, except for the Chinese leadership. And some of them's worth $51 million. Some of them's worth $100 million. And that's not communist. That's not distributing the wealth equally.
You can't take it with you when
like
you die.
You're supposed to. And they go on about the equal opportunity in China and all this stuff. That's why they're paying slave.
You can be equally poor, like everybody else.
Wait, that's why they're paying slave labor and everything else. That's why, and they trick our countries into moving their plants over there, and then they tax the holy shit out of them after they've been there for so long, and then it makes it where they can't move. That's why Trump put the tariffs on China, so that he can get the American companies to come back to America to make jobs, and that's why the unemployment rate, they've been moving them, and that's why the unemployment rate is went down as low as it has in 67 years. I mean, in common sense terms, the breaking news is funny, because you hear breaking news and you think, I've talked about this 6 months ago. All these other people that I named earlier have talked about this 6 months ago. And then when you talk about Biden beating Trump, at 4 o'clock in the morning, all the news channels shut off, even Louder and Crowder, and they shut off. They took a 45-minute nap. They woke up, and Biden was ahead by 100,000 points. And that's 45 minutes, and that, if you check that time, that's when the USB drives were loaded, and votes for Biden went way up off the charts. I mean, off the charts for just, if you handed that voting chart to a normal statistic analysis person, they would be going, this is wrong, this is fake, there's something wrong here. That's not how it goes. It should be a smooth curve. As the votes come in, it should gradually go up. For each one of them, they should be 2 lines, and one might go above the other, or one might go above the other, but not it go like this, and then woof, and then down, and then woof, and then again. I mean, common sense tells you that there is fraud in this election.
And that's a shame.
And a district attorney, or U.S. attorney, James Barr, now says this was the safest election. And it's like, I'm probably going to miss this guy's name, but I think he's Munoz. He was one of the guys that's heading over the fraud election thing, where Mayor Giuliani is making his case, and the woman that's with him. See, Trump knew this was happening before. That's why he hired this legal team before the election even began, because he knew the voter fraud was going to be there as soon as he heard Dominion machines and that bankrupt one from Spain. Okay, if you're bankrupt, that means you're hurting for money. That means all the Democrats has to do is throw you money, and bam, you'll tell them how to get in the back door, load some votes in, and there it goes. And all of this stuff I've said through this whole thing.
Yes.
And when it comes down, it's either going to come down to the Supreme Court overturning and throwing out ballots, or it's going to come to the House and the Senate coming together and voting against what is been certified by Georgia. Actually, I'll tell you a unique story. When the hearings were going on in Georgia, the Georgia state attorney or the Georgia governor or whoever he is that signs and validates the election was signing it right as Trump and them were having that hearing. They were signing it, and he got a phone call, and it was the phone call, the ringtone was "Hail to the Chief," so you know who it was. When you hear "Hail to the Chief," that means it was Donald Trump calling him, telling him that not to certify the election until that hearing was over, because that's our constitutional right. Him as a president, he has the right to go through every legal channel that is constitutionally right for him to do. And that's what he's done so far. And the Democrats are telling you, oh, it's going to make destroy our United States system and stuff like this. The Dow Jones is up. Everything is running just the same as it was before. And that's just a scare tactic that they've been doing to try to rush Biden into office.
Which is the biggest mistake we've made in the history of voting.
This man shows signs of dementia. This guy shows signs of Alzheimer's. This guy shows signs of
pedophilia.
Pedophilia.
Wanting kids to rub his hairy legs.
Bouncing on his lap and stuff.
That's just weird.
Those three things right there are something that I don't want. That's qualities that I don't want my president.
Those kind of people ruling my country.
The thing about Donald Trump is, the reason they want him out of office is because he is not a puppet. He has made his own millions. He does not need lobbyists to give money to him. He took no money during his campaigns at all. And the only time he took money is when he would throw a event and they would buy plates to go to the event for him. That's the only time that I ever have seen him do anything like that. And I think he didn't do it that many times. He used his own money to do it. He put
his own money into our country.
The paycheck that he gets for being president does not go to him. It goes back into
$1.
He takes $1 because he has to.
Yeah.
And the rest of it goes back into the economy.
Yeah.
And these people
When's the last time we've had a president do that?
We've never had a president do that. And the thing about it is Trump is the guy that needs to shake up Washington. That's exactly what we need. We have senators that's been in there for 40 years and nothing has changed. Not a damn thing has changed. We need to put term limits on senators. 4 years, just like the president. Every 4 years, they vote for a new senator. We do not need lifelong congressmen and senators.
No. That's corrupt. All of its own.
Because they make money off of it. They take money from lobbyists. That's how Nancy Pelosi is worth, I can't remember, $31 million when she gets paid $173,000 a year. And that's
she
from
must
lobbyists
be a really good
and
saving
everything
person.
else. And that's the breaking news right there. All in it. I want to see her tax returns. I want to see where her money comes from. That would be
the best fiction novel ever written.
There's an old saying, follow the money. And when you follow the money and you come to Nancy Pelosi and career senators and career congressmen like that, and you follow the money, it's going to go back to big business, tech, and all that stuff. I mean, like YouTube channels like mine, they have algorithms to wipe them off because they don't want you to hear the truth. They want to be able to steer the narrative toward poor Democrats. Trump's trying to destroy them and stuff like that, but that's not how it works.
They can destroy themselves quite naturally on their own.
Every news media has lied. Look at Fox's ratings now. Fox's ratings, I'd rather be on the Titanic than be on Fox, because I'd have a better chance of surviving on the Titanic than I would Fox News.
They
Fox
did it
News,
to themselves.
the only people that is making ratings on Fox News is Tucker Carlson and another guy. I can't think of his name. I mean, that's how non-important he is to me because I don't watch it anymore. I watch Newsmax. And the guy that's the lead spokesperson on Newsmax is a former Navy SEAL, and he tells the truth. He interviews these people and tells you what they need to hear. So, on breaking news, China is bad.
Oh no!
China lies to the world.
What?
China could have had this virus contained in the Wuhan province before it even started.
Oh, no.
They could have, since they are all military power, they could have had that province surrounded and nobody goes in and out that has COVID. And guess what? Nobody else would be affected if nobody left that province. And let's call him Bruce Wayne of China, the Batman of China, that eat the bat that got the thing, he would have never made it out of the Wuhan province, and he would have never spread it to anybody else. And when they rushed Joe Biden off, and I can almost read the words coming out of his staff's mouth, "Let's go to the Batcave." That's who he reminds me of, Adam West on Batman.
That's just
to the Batcave. We need to go to the Batmobile.
Your ratings
the Joker's
went
getting
down.
away. And they lead him off like he's some superhero. And then when they get in the car and he's like, "Where'd the Joker go?" And they're like, "Well, sir, we just needed you to get off stage so you wouldn't answer any more crazy questions." And he's like, "Oh, man. Come on, man.
Come on, wrap this up."
But we're wrapping this up. This is breaking news for all the Communist Party line and
Democrats
to the whole world.
cheating.
And
Imagine that.
when all of this is said and done, Trump is still going to be our president.
Yay! Go Trump.
We're going to see how much voter fraud comes into this, and we're going to see
how many people don't go to jail for it.
I hope every Democrat that had a hand in this, that had rushed the minion into those states, I hope they all are charged with treason.
But they
treason
won't be.
against the United States. And that's what that's what Common Sense America is calling for, is to put the Democrats that is behind this bullshit election in jail. And on that note, we're out of here.
Bye.
See ye.